I'm here to give you the spiritual message of biblical number 1. We all see numbers in life. They might be sequences, they might be on number plates. You might see every time you look at the time, it's 11:11. I'm here to give you the biblical meaning of the number 1. This is interconnected with angel numbers. Angel numbers are numbers sent to us, supposedly from our guardian angels, to guide us to our divine light. However, I will honestly say I am not overly religious, but I do like to look at the Bible for inspiration and clues of my spiritual journey. If we look at the number 1, there is one God, only one God and no other, as talked about in Mark 12:32. As the story of the Egyptians, the number 1 occurs repeatedly in Scripture, and it distinguishes the one and truly only God from the many different types of false gods back in Egyptian times. We also know that God only had one son. If we look at the Scripture, John 10:30, he said, God and his Son are one. I and the Father are one. In essence, the biblical meaning of number 1 represents the natural forces within us. We are as one. There is no other person like you on this planet. You are the only one. If we turn to the 10 Commandments, for instance, there are 613. 6 plus 1 plus 3 equals 10. And then if we single that down in numerological terms, that's number 1. These commandments are what we are supposed to live our lives at. If we turn to the scripture of Galatians 5:14, it states, for the whole law can be summoned by this one command: love others as you love yourself. If you keep seeing the number 1, it can indicate that it is time for you. The number 1 biblically can also indicate that if you've been in a relationship for a while, you might have experienced argument. Not to mention there may be days when the mere sight of your partner makes you want to lock yourself away, which is part of the reason why the number 1 has kept cropping up. If you're unhappy in a relationship, it is important to understand if it is just a rough patch or it is something that you need to sort out on a longer term basis. It is perfectly normal to be unhappy in relationships from time to time, but you must look at the frequency and duration of your feelings. There are so many of our lives that are in parallel with another person or interwoven with somebody that we are not supposed to be with. And this is why biblically the number 1 could keep appearing, because you need to look at your soul. Your soul is singular. You were born in this world as one individual. What I am trying to say here is looking at the scripture within the Bible might be an indication that you could be feeling unhappy in your relationship, which doesn't necessarily mean that you need to break up, but it can mean that you need to fix the issues. If you are single and you keep seeing the number 1, biblically this represents your individualism. It is okay to be on our own. Society expects us to be in a union, to be married, but in this day and age, in this modern era, that isn't necessarily the case. The number 1 could be a sign to embrace being single. Make the most of this season. Do you realise being single could be a gift from above, so you can do your soul's purpose on this earth? Remember, whether you're in a partnership or you're single, you are an individual. And the biblical number 1, keeps appearing to remind you to make the most of this season. Hope you enjoyed that spiritual message about the biblical number 1, and don't forget to check out my website, Auntyflo.com. Thank you.